The Fifth Element was a $90 million gamble that nearly sank the studio, and the wildest stories weren't even on screen. A sci-fi epic built from a lonely teenager's wild imagination turned into Europe's most expensive bet ever. What went wrong? The hero and villain never meet. Prince turned down a starring role because of the costumes. One actress learned an entire alien language from scratch. And one of the most legendary movie scenes was almost destroyed by a forklift at the airport. These are 15 surprising details that reveal how controlled chaos created a sci-fi masterpiece. But it all started with one lonely teenager and his pen. Number 1. Luc Besson was just 16, stuck in a quiet French village, when he started dreaming up the Fifth Element, filled notebooks with crazy galaxies, flying cars, wild aliens, strange languages, even love stories across whole worlds, building a universe with 400 pages of notes, maps and histories. Even Lilu's orange hair and that opera-singing alien started as doodles in those old notebooks. What you see on screen, that's just a tiny slice of the epic universe he'd carried around since he was a lonely teenager, dreaming it all up from scratch.
Permission to enter granted.
Number 2. Bruce Willis wasn't the studio's first pick to save the world. Their top choice, Mel Gibson, fresh off Braveheart and a proven action star. Gibson would have made Corbin Dallas way darker and more serious, but he turned the part down. The search went on, then Bruce Willis got the script. He loved it, but the budget couldn't cover his usual fee. Willis took a smaller upfront paycheck, betting on the film's success instead, a rare move for a Hollywood star in a European movie.
You okay?
In another universe, Gibson's Corbin would have been all gloom and grit, but Willis brought something totally different. Dry humour, everyman energy, and the look of a guy just barely keeping up. That weird mix is exactly what Luc Besson wanted. The next big challenge? Casting the wildest character in the whole movie, and that story is even stranger. Number 3. When Luc Besson was casting Ruby Rhod, the part was written for Prince, famous for his wild style and bold stage presence. At first, Prince was interested in joining the movie, but then he saw Jean-Paul Gaultier's costume designs. Bright, revealing outfits, netting, and wild shapes. Even for Prince, who designed some shocking outfits himself, Gaultier's vision just didn't click. According to multiple interviews, Prince simply didn't like the costumes and felt they weren't his style. On top of that, the schedule clashed with an international tour. So Prince turned down the role and the search was on. That's when Chris Tucker landed the part and transformed Ruby into a wild, fast-talking comedian. A totally different energy that ended up becoming iconic. But the new Ruby wasn't the only big change. Gaultier's costumes were a huge challenge for the entire movie, making every scene look bold and new, from the stars to the people in the background. Number 4. The Fifth Element didn't look like any sci-fi movie before it, and a big reason was the costumes. Designer Jean-Paul Gaultier and his team made almost 1,000 outfits for the film. This wasn't just clothes for the main actors. Gaultier wanted every person on screen, even background characters, to have a special, unique look. For scenes on the big cruise ship, every alien guest wore outfits made just for them. Even workers and people in the background got costumes that matched their jobs or where they came from. One jacket for the movie cost as much as $5,000. Gaultier paid close attention to every detail, checking each costume himself. He spent months before filming started making up styles for made-up alien species. Every costume helped tell you something about that character's world, like if they were rich, what they did for work, or what planet they lived on. Making all of these costumes took a lot of money and tons of hard work. Hundreds of people sewed and put together outfits day and night. In the end, all this work made the movie feel full of life and colour. But trouble was just around the corner, waiting to put all their hard work to the test. Number 5. According to crew stories, The film canisters with the diva's performance were reportedly crushed at an airport. One of cinema's most unforgettable scenes almost disappeared when heavy machinery ran over the containers holding months of work. The accident happened during routine cargo handling at the shipping facility. A forklift operator didn't see the film cans and drove directly over them, damaging the delicate reels inside. The footage had been shot with complex lighting setups and precise timing that couldn't be recreated. Production assistants discovered the damage when they opened the mangled containers. Studio executives who rarely involved themselves in technical details suddenly found themselves examining damaged film stock frame by frame. The team scrambled to assess what could be salvaged. Hours of careful inspection revealed that enough usable footage remained to assemble the sequence, but barely. The near disaster changed how the production handled all future film transfers. Extra protective cases, backup copies, and stricter handling procedures became standard practice. Everyone realized how close they had come to losing the film's centerpiece scene. But even with the footage saved, the diva's performance presented another challenge that went beyond mere logistics. The sequence demanded something that pushed the boundaries of what was technically possible to achieve. Number 6. The diva's song in The Fifth Element wasn't just tough, it was impossible for anyone to sing start to finish. Composer Eric Serra wanted an alien magical sound, so he wrote wild jumps between super high and low notes, plus lightning fast runs that not even top singers could pull off. Some notes had to be held longer than anyone can breathe. Invar Müller, a world-class soprano, gave it everything. She nailed much of the aria, but even for her, some parts were actually unsingable. Her voice gave the song its real emotion, but a few moments just weren't humanly possible. That's where the sound engineers came in. They recorded Müller and then stitched the impossible bits together with editing and digital tricks. Some of the coolest sounds in the diva dance. This real meets digital blend didn't just fix the song, it set the standard for how the movie conquered other impossible sci-fi problems too. Number 7. Milla Jovovich spent months learning to speak a language that didn't exist anywhere but in Luc Besson's mind. The director made up the divine language, with about 400 words and special grammar rules. It wasn't just random sounds or silly noises for the movie. Besson wanted it to be a real way to talk, even if only a few people knew it.
I'm not finished yet. I'm to V.
V is good. Some very good words in V.
Before filming, Miller worked with teachers to help her learn this made-up language. She practiced the right way to say the words and learned long lists of strange new vocabulary. She kept working on it while the movie was being made, because sometimes Besson added new lines that she also had to learn. It wasn't just about repeating funny words, she had to speak smoothly, like she'd been using this language her whole life. Learning to use real words changed how Miller played Lilu in the movie. She had to show feelings and ideas in a totally different way, because she was thinking in the divine language, not just copying sounds. Sometimes Miller and Besson even wrote each other letters, or talked in this secret language while filming. Number 8. Here's one of The Fifth Element's wildest secrets. Bruce Willis and Gary Oldman, the hero and villain, never filmed a scene together. Their characters don't even meet in the movie. Luc Besson planned it this way. Willis finished all his scenes before Oldman even showed up on set. But it wasn't just a schedule thing. Besson wanted the hero and villain living in totally separate worlds, always affecting each other, but never face to face.
15 seconds.
Most movies end with the classic good guy versus bad guy showdown. The Fifth Element flips the script. Corbin, Dallas and Zorg spend the movie tangled in each other's messes, but never share a room. Willis acted with Lilu and crew, while Oldman filmed with his alien henchmen. Their stories only collide through chaos, not confrontation, and that's what makes the movie so weirdly unique.
To do a film at that point, being 19, that was a huge chunk of my life.
Number 9. Gary Oldman didn't really want to play the villain. He took the job mostly as a favour for director Luc Besson, because Besson had helped him out on another movie before. In fact, Oldman said yes before reading the script, or learning much about the part. When filming started, Oldman worked hard, but couldn't really understand his character, Zorg, or the movie's wacky tone. He later said he was confused by the story the whole time, but this confusion actually helped his performance. Since Oldman couldn't make sense of Zorg, he decided to just have fun and act as weird as he wanted.
You and I are in the same business. Cheers.
His strange choices made Zorg one of the most memorable villains ever. While Oldman struggled with the story, other cast members formed close friendships that also changed the movie.
What I do teach my daughters, or especially my eldest at this point, is to just have this joy for life.
Number 10. Between takes, Milla Jovovich read bedtime stories to Bruce Willis's daughters. This surprising family setup started as a way to pass time during the long days on set. Willis often brought his kids to work. While other actors focused on the movie, Jovovich hung out with his family. She helped with homework, played games, and kept the kids busy during long waits.
I don't know love. I was built to protect, not to love. So there's no use for me other than this.
No, you're wrong.
She even taught them simple words from the divine language and told them about her own childhood. But pretty soon, things were about to get even more interesting. Number 11. Milla Jovovich's bright orange hair, famous from The Fifth Element, became a big problem while filming. At first she dyed her own hair that colour, but the chemicals made her hair weak and hard to handle. It started breaking and couldn't hold the style, so the team had to act fast. The hair and makeup crews made several orange wigs to match her dyed hair. Number 12. The flying taxi chase scene used one of the largest sets of miniatures ever built for a film up to that point. To make the wild New York scene, the crew built a small city with dozens of tiny apartment buildings and 25 mini skyscrapers, each about 1/24 the size of the real thing. About 80 people worked for 5 months, making the tiny city using wood, plastic, and other strong materials so nothing would break too quickly. Most crashes had to be perfect on the first try, since fixing the mini cars took a lot of work. The special effects team mixed models, painted backgrounds, and CGI to create the final look. Dozens of tiny vehicles were built and rebuilt each day, just for a few seconds of awesome movie action. Number 13. When it was time to set off the huge explosion for The Fifth Element, the movie team used dozens of cameras from all different angles. Some cameras could film in slow motion, while others captured everything as it happened. Each camera was protected by special shields so the blast wouldn't break them. The actors stayed far away, behind strong barriers, with safety experts keeping a careful watch. The huge blast lasted just a few seconds, but destroyed a whole movie set that had taken weeks to build. This explosion was so amazing that it became famous for action movies. Number 14. Making The Fifth Element was a giant risk for everyone involved. With a price tag of about $90 million, it was the most expensive movie ever made in Europe at the time. This huge budget made the people paying for the movie very nervous. The costs were much higher than anyone first thought. Every part of the movie, like the 1,000 special costumes, the tiny model city, and the giant explosion, cost way more money and needed tons of people working long hours. Cheers to the crew, who worked night and day sewing and building. In the end, the movie made about $264 million around the world, turning the big risk into a surprise success. But while filming, no one knew if it would pay off. Number 15. At first, American audiences didn't know what to think about The Fifth Element. Some critics and moviegoers were confused by how bright and wild it was, and some even walked out of theatres unsure of what they just saw. Studio bosses were worried because the US box office wasn't as great as they hoped for such an expensive movie. People working on the film felt the pressure as early ticket sales reports came in. It looked like the huge risk might end up as a failure in the United States. Then everything changed once the movie opened in other countries. Viewers in Europe and Japan loved its bold colours and wild style. French fans liked Luc Besson's way of telling stories, while Japanese audiences enjoyed its anime-like look. The movie ended up making around $264 million worldwide, with most of that money coming from outside the US. The global success proved that big creative risks could lead to huge wins, even if not everyone got it at first. Got your own wild Fifth Element facts, theories, or memories? Drop them in the comments. Let's see who's got the best one.